Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. Now to start off, I've updated my cost average down below on my retirement bags. As I mentioned before, I went quite aggressively when we had the big capitulation event, and actually basically we have doubled from the bottom, from the big week down, and so actually, at this stage, it has worked well for me. But one of the things I would like to discuss in this video is actually two parts. Number one, Pulsechain. Why do I think it's actually not a security? Because once again, the SEC doesn't know how Pulsechain works. Now, there are things that you could argue that they are securities because there are updates. So X is completely finished, there's no updates, there's no changes in the code. However, Pulsechain, there are some updates, but the same way that Ethereum also has updates. So if you're going to use that argument, then Ethereum will be a security, the same way that Bitcoin also suffers some updates from time to time. So it really depends on what you really consider. If you would consider, Bitcoin is a bit different, but if you would consider Pulsechain a security because of that, then you would basically have to consider all layer ones as securities. Then Pulsechain has 35,000 validators. That's right, it's one of the most in any layer one on the planet. And none of them is a big centralized entity validating the whole thing. Now again, the argument comes from, Richard, through the origin address, controls a huge amount of the ownership. That is not a reason for being a security. There was a time where Satoshi owned all the Bitcoins in the world, and Bitcoin was still not a security. So, in that sense, number one, I would like to say, it's good that after those big news, the community remains strong. A big part of the community has remained, and actually, there's more positivity than I expected. I would expect more capitulation, people crying, kind of things. But actually, we didn't see that. Now, why did we see a big sell-off? Of course, it's still a negative event. And you need to understand that a lot of people with, tens of millions of dollars who were still in the green. So when they sell, 5 million, they push the price down. That is as simple. But for them, a lot of them are still in profit. And the problem is, when you start seeing those red candles going down like this, then a lot of people who don't stomach volatility that well will also sell in capitulation and basically just lose 60% or 75% of their position. And they'll probably regret it in the future. I don't know, to be seen. But you see these capitulation events quite often. And these have happened in the past. With Bitcoin, with Ethereum, when Ethereum was down 95%, when there was the big Ponzi from China, when Bitcoin went from 14,000 to about 3,800, and you've seen these things happen over and over again. But one thing is to know the history behind it, the other thing is seeing it happen in front of you. And it doesn't feel good, it actually feels terribly. But that's the point of the psychology behind the markets. You see, when there are people who just come to crypto on the bull market, they buy something, goes up 100 times, and they become very wealthy. That happens. The same way that anybody can go buy a lottery ticket and also win. That's also possible. Or make a huge bet in a game and actually win it and then make a lot of money. All of these things are possible. They are not likely though. And with most of the time, with crypto or with any other market, you actually suffer the majority of the time. The time when you're starting to have a lot of fun, feeling really well, and that you're a machine, and everything that you buy just goes up, and you are Warren Buffett, when you start feeling like that, it probably means that the top is approaching. And this is just the psychology of markets. Most people cannot recognize it, so they double down near the top, and then, of course, they pay a big price. The larger wallets start selling when basically as CNBC is covering crypto all day long, when basically crypto is going to replace every single thing in the world, then they start selling, but the majority of retail buys over there. So you see the most extreme behaviors at capitulation stages, going down sharply, and at the euphoric bubbles. It's amazing to see. It happens all the time, and typically retail makes the bad decisions almost all the time. Now, very important thing. What happened to X, Pulsechain, PulseX, and Richard? It happened in 2023, the recovery year, not in the middle of bull market. Now, if this would happen in the middle of bull market, let's say August 2024, this would have been terrible. Why? Because basically the bull market is here, a lot of things are going up at the same time. Maybe a lot of people would say, that whole thing probably will actually resolve itself well, but why would I risk it? I'll just go to this ecosystem who's pumping because we're in the bull market. So why would I worry? This is what happened with XRP 2020. 2020, the bull market had started, so people just navigated to other communities that were doing very well, because why would they take the risk and the volatility in the middle of the bull market? Very importantly, imagine you're planning an event and you have, let's say, 5 venues. But let's say that this event is happening next week and there's a big fire, whatever, something damages one of the properties that you wanted. And the people tell you, look, if you give me 4 days, I'll get it up and running and good as new. But because the event is coming in 7 days, you're probably going to go for the other one because you don't want to risk that unforeseeable events happen. But if the event would be 6 months from now, you would probably stick to the same. If it takes 4 or 5 days to repair and to put it in the at the level of the original phase, you would probably just wait. It's the same thing. Depends on when it happens as well. It's very important. So, look, I will keep an eye on all of these developments. I did like to see the activity and the double up on the bottom side, pretty much a bit more than double, but still some good buying pressure. I think it will surprise a lot of people. And thank you very much in the comments, by the way, for people who advised me to get out, and they showed genuine care for me. So I really appreciate it. I do think I'm still making the right decisions, but I will be here for the entire journey and I won't run away. So you'll see, for better or worse, whatever happens to my positions. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.